On today's episode of Bill and Frank's Guilt-Free Pleasures, we talk about a song that's all about smooching and has nothing to do with witches.
We talk about the proto-vocal fry, and we talk about the proto-manic pixie dream girl.
Now get your head out of that bearded barley and listen to this podcast.
This is our discussion on Kiss Me by Sixpence, None the Richer.
As we approach our nearly third-year anniversary, it's still a few months away of starting the podcast, we've gained some popularity with the local community here in the Niagara region. Would you say so, Frank?
Yeah, I would say that we have tens of unique listeners to the podcast.
Yes, exactly. And we've been getting requests, which is great. Now, today's song was actually requested twice. So a few months ago, a good friend of ours requested the song, and let's call him, I'll pick a name. Let's call him Pastor Mike. And he requested it, and I said, well, maybe. And Frank, I don't know, were you there, Frank? Because usually you just shoot down whatever he has to say.
Typically, yeah, but I don't think I was there for that suggestion.
Okay, that wasn't, I'm sorry I said that. That's not fair.
Well, it's not untrue.
So I said, I don't know. I mean, that's like really good. And usually we do songs that some people might not like or whatever, and I was thinking about it, and then I was at the end of year assembly just before Christmas at school, and they did a show called Big Shiny 90s, which was awesome. And our good friend Dave Kitchen was standing beside me, and we saw this student get up and sing Kiss Me by Sixpence None the Richer, and it kind of just stopped everybody in their tracks. And Dave Kitchen leaned over and said, we got to do this song. And then I thought, yeah, that's a great idea. So we brought Dave Kitchen onto the podcast.
That's fantastic.
Welcome, Dave Kitchen, to the podcast.
Great to be back. Lucky number 13 for me. That's a baker's dozen there, Bob.
I haven't quite got to the end of the story, though, with our good friend Pastor Mike, who caught wind that Dave Kitchen was coming for lucky number 13. And he sent the following text yesterday. You're recording Kiss Me tomorrow? Like the one I suggested? Judas!
I would like to say, though, that when you've been on the podcast 12 other times, that your suggestions carry a little bit more weight. That's why we decided to go with Dave instead of Mike on this one, I think.
Well, he's got 10 more visits, and then we'll get him there.
Well, 11 now, yeah.
I'm kind of waiting for Pastor Mike now to burst in halfway through in some big expose, where it's like, how could you?
Yeah, I'm kind of expecting him to jump in at any moment here.
Yeah, but with all that being said, I think we can have Mike back onto the podcast when we finally do our Freak on a Leash episode.
Well, because I won't be here, so then you'll need a co-host.
Yeah.
All right, so Sixpence None the Richer, Kiss Me, pretty much one of the major songs of the 90s, but I forgot that it was actually major in 99. Came out in 98, but really sort of peaked in 99.
Can we also just take a half a step back here, please? And can we address the fact that this would be technically our Valentine's Day episode? So we picked a Smoochy lovey song for Valentine's Day.
Well, I think Dave picked it.
So, Dave, tell us why you like smooching so much.
Oh my goodness. I don't know what to say.
Kiss me beneath the milky twilight, lead me out on the moonlit floor, lift your open hand, strike up the band and make the fireflies dance, silver moon sparkling. So kiss me.
Let's talk band history, Frank.
Yeah,
and
okay.
Kitch, ready? Okay, ready? I'm ready. First off, we need to talk about Sixpence None the Richer's name.
Yeah.
It came up quite beautifully on the Dave Letterman show when they were doing Kiss Me, the song, on the show. One of the rare moments is getting a happy Dave Letterman. And so Lee Nash mentioned how much she loved Dave Letterman, like she'd watch it every night with her husband. And when she's on the show, this was like a big dream of hers. And then the producer said, Dave wants you to come and sit with him after you sing, which almost never happens.
Yeah.
Unless your name's Warren Zevon, you're not going to the couch. And she got to go to the couch.
Tilda West Broca got invited to the couch, just so you know.
Of course. Thanks, Frank. So famously, Lee Nash had explained to Dave Letterman the meaning of the band, which she didn't come up with. It was Matt Slocum, the cellist and guitarist. Yeah, who came up with it. And she had explained it to Dave Letterman, and it was super sweet, her explanation.
And very well spoken, too. Like, she said it, and when you read the transcript, because I've seen the interview, and then you read the transcript, it reads beautifully. And she said it on the fly. And fighting her nerves, because David Letterman had to tell her a couple times, like, are you okay?
The book is called Mere Christianity.
Yeah. And does in the passage, in what context do we find it?
Oh, thanks for asking. I will quickly tell you.
Take all the time you need.
Thank you. All right.
What's the matter? You all
I'm
right?
scared. This is
Of what?
awesome. This is just all my dreams are being fulfilled. Let me tell a story though. There's
And he was really sweet during it because he stops her knowing that she's nervous and says, do you want me to come to your hotel afterwards? It's so good. And she's laughing, but she's able to get it out. And I listened to a interview with her from a few years ago, and she said, I wish I had been able to say more on the Dave Letterman show. It didn't come out right. And they said, no, you came out perfectly. And it did. And the idea of Sixpence None the Richer comes out of the C.S. Lewis book, Mere Christianity, where the idea of like a child asking to borrow money from the father and then buying the father a gift with the money he gave him. But that the father's happy with the gift is how they feel about who they are in terms of the universe, that God has given us all money or whatever. They take it and they give a gift back, but they're not really giving anything that he didn't already have.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it's a lateral move.
Yeah, that's it.
That was actually the...
You just quoted C.S. Lewis.
Yeah.
So, but Dave Letterman he's really good because he talked
Wait,
about...
did C.S. Lewis say that?
No.
Oh.
No. But Dave Letterman had basically said something like, if we could only all be that humble, the world would be a better place. And that was his move to say to her, I get what you're throwing down, and it's all good.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. Mm-hmm. That's the origin of the name of the band. And the band, well, Frank, we were talking about this. Matt Slocum heard Lee Nash singing in the choir, and she was how old?
She was like 13 years old.
13 years old. And he had written a song. So he was 17 years old. He'd written a song and had her sing it for him. And then it wasn't for a couple of years until they actually created a band together.
Yeah, it must have been like 3 years because I think in 92 is when the band officially started, so she would have been 16 at that time.
And they were signed to a label that was under the CCM banner. And for our listeners, CCM is Christian Contemporary Music. It was a very particular type of music. Beyond being like...
Christian and contemporary.
Yeah.
That's very particular.
There are Christians who make music, but then in Christian contemporary music, you have to follow almost specific sets of rules to have your music out there. And it was a kind of strange world that they didn't quite fit in and they were eager to get out of, but that was where they began. I actually know this from reading an AOL interview from the mid-90s.
Oh, wow.
With Matt Slocum. They asked him, this guy named Link Lefest, which I don't think is a real name.
No, it doesn't sound real.
No, from the Phantom Toll Booth. Okay, this is the 90s. No one ever thought that people would still be reading this today. He was asked, where do you see Sixpence going in the future? Would you like to stay in the Christian market or would you like to try to get into the mainstream market? And Matt said, it has always been our goal to enter the mainstream market, but that door hasn't opened to us yet. But when it does, we will definitely walk through it.
I feel bad for the Christian music community being used. They're clearly using the Christian music community just knowing that they're going to throw them away like a dirty towel when it's all over.
Yeah. Well, there's a strong history of this happening with...
look at Amy Grant.
I was going to say Katy Perry.
Oh, yeah, there's that too, yeah.
Started off in the Christian market. Evanescence also pulled that move.
That's right.
And then tried to pretend they weren't in the Christian market.
That's right, yeah.
Evanescence, we know where you came from.
The band is from New Braunfels, Texas. They have a couple of albums on minor labels, and then their third album comes out, and it's just called Sixpence None the Richer. And that's the album where we get Kiss Me.
Can I say?
I'll allow you to.
Okay, thanks. The journey to that third album was a long one.
Yes. I got a message, actually, from Pastor Mike, And I was going to surprise Bill and Dave here today with the amount of research that I did, which was basically someone spoon feeding me information, that there is about 2 degrees of separation between this podcast and Sixpence None the Richer, in the sense that this podcast exists. Had the Julies on the podcast, the Julies were on the same record label as Sixpence None the Richer back in the 90s in 96.
And there was this compilation album called, was it Starball?
Yeah, Starball compilation or contributions or something like that.
Right. And so that was kind of like, I guess, a famous or epic sort of indie Christian album or Christian adjacent album that is probably hard to find now. But that got passed around a lot in the late 90s.
Yeah, so I was going to bring this information, and wow, everybody is like, oh, look, Frank actually read something other than Wikipedia. But Bill already knew this.
That's what you get for not coming to church this morning, Frank.
Well, there's that too. Dave, are you impressed with my knowledge?
I was going to say, this is the first time you've ever brought anything beyond Wikipedia to the podcast since I've been here on all my 13 episodes. So I'm very impressed, Frank. And I did not know this information, so it's hitting me like a Mack truck right now. Well done.
So this isn't for the sake of Pastor Mike, who's not here to defend himself or to support whatever I'm saying is true. But when he was at whatever college he was studying at,
He was in Fresno in seminary.
Oh, okay, that's what.
Yeah.
So he met Sixpence None the Richer while they were in between the third and second album.
Yeah.
Before the big album came out, and so he talked to Matt Slocum, who said, "Hey, man, keep in contact," and he gave him his Hotmail address.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like Pastor Mike's claim to fame.
Yeah, and then he promptly lost it, he says.
That's right. And so I was texting Chris Newkirk to ask if this was true and if the Julies got caught into this because they released an album and both Sixpence and the Julies ended up stuck because the record company got bought out. And I think there was some nefarious dealings going on by the company that bought them. And so everyone was waiting till they could release music.
Whenever anyone says like nefarious dealings, I picture a guy with a pencil mustache that he's twisting menacingly and has that sort of laugh.
Right.
That's what all record execs look like to me in my mind.
With the big smoking cigar,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I mentioned this to Chris that we potentially had Matt Slocum's Hotmail address, and then he immediately just sent me Matt Slocum's phone number while we were sitting here.
Seriously.
So, yeah, depending on how this goes, well or bad, we might be calling Matt Slocum in about an hour to ask him questions about this song. They end up out of their record deal with, I think it was Platinum Entertainment, who had bought out their record company. And they end up signing with Steve Taylor's Squint Records.
Yes.
Now, Steve Taylor is a big deal in the CCM world because he wrote all the Newsboys' lyrics for their major albums.
Okay.
Frank, you don't sound interested in that at all.
No, I'm looking something up right now on the Wikipedia. See, I read initially Steve Tyler, and I'm just like, why did the guy from Aerosmith produce this album?
That's what I thought too, yeah.
Steve Taylor was like a major lyricist, so for huge like platinum selling Christian bands.
Yeah.
And he's edgy enough that he's not going to be forcing the sort of weirdo CCM stuff on them.
Gotcha.
This song is nothing like the album. Did you guys listen to the album?
Yeah,
Re-listen to it at all?
This song is way bouncier, way poppier than the rest of the album.
And I know there's people, Pastor Mike, who are big fans of their like early material and the stuff they do. I'm a big fan of this.
Yes.
And so to me, this is it. And they said, oh, we wouldn't have released this as a single, but the record company was like, no, this is the single. And when I hear it, I'm like, of course it's a single.
Yeah, it's the only singleable song on the album, I would say.
That is the issue, is that in the end, they didn't have a follow-up single on the ready. They had to do a remake of The Laws.
Yeah, There She Goes, yeah.
There wasn't anything that matched this.
Yeah. Always a sign of a band who's tapped out their creative potential when their follow-ups to big songs are covers.
Yeah, and I think they almost seemed like they were okay with, well, you know what? People say that after their stars kind of faded, where it's like, yeah, we're okay not to have another hit. Like, if it were me, I'd be okay with another hit. Like Sugar Ray, you can live off this stuff.
Yeah.
And actually, Matt Slocum, he wrote the song. He's the sole songwriter.
He's the sole songwriter, yeah.
So I have here the Spotify Wrapped for 2023 because Lee Nash posted it on her Instagram, and I can tell you how many times Sixpence None the Richer was streamed.
This song or the band?
Well, can we just kind of assume that it's probably this
One
song?
and the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it could be There She Goes. They also did a cover of Don't Dream
Yeah,
It's Over
yeah.
and another cover. Why can't I remember what it is now? Let me find
Freak on a Leash?
Yes. That would be amazing.
Last year, 155.9 million streams, 31 million listeners. That means 31 million people actually listened to, say, 30 seconds of the song.
Yeah.
31 million.
Wow.
Now, with that, you do get paid some money.
Yeah.
And so I think Matt Slocum
Oh, he's
probably
doing okay.
making, and with all the sort of
Licensing.
he's got to be making, I'm just going to guess, like, there's got to be six figures coming in with that song.
Yeah.
I think he's doing okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to give his Hotmail address out to random people.
I was just going to say, I wonder
for
if he's still
couch
doing
to surf on later.
I bet you he's got a Gmail now.
Oh, probably. Do you have a Gmail?
We have a Gmail.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, because we were big time.
Oh, yeah.
Easy on the Hotmail. It's my go-to. It's my.
That's right. That is your still Hotmail.
I got made fun of when I rented a car in Utah back in March. The guy's like, "You got a Hotmail?" I'm like, "But it's my name. No underscore, no numbers, just my name."
Now we know how to reach out to you,
Yeah.
listeners all across the world.
What did you say earlier? Tens of listeners?
Tens of listeners.
Okay, so Kiss Me does really well, but not initially. It does fairly well.
Yeah.
They go to every single market possible. Apparently played at like every radio station they could find.
Mm-hmm.
But the song kind of charts, but not too high, and then disappears. But then,
She's all that.
But it was also on Dawson's Creek as well.
yeah.
And it made it onto the CD, like the soundtrack CD, like season 2 of Dawson's Creek. These are the songs that you hear, whatever season it would have been, which was big in the 90s, if you remember. A lot of popular shows that had music playing throughout them would put out these soundtrack CDs. Like, well, I remember
The OC.
Friends did that for their
Yeah,
first
yeah.
season. And
Was it just Phoebe singing that stupid song about a cat?
no, that was on it though. I bought it because I had to have a third version of Toad the Wet Sprocket's Good Intentions because I had it only on 2 other CDs, but it was a release that I had to have.
They might have made more money on your single purchase of that CD than on 100,000 streams of that song. Kiss Me ends up rising to number 2. And She's All That was the big one because
Yes.
Freddie Prinze and the other person in the...
Rachel Lee Cook.
Okay, all right. Well, you guys have seen this. I read the play. Or
I'm pretty sure the play was based on the movie.
She's All That was based on Pygmalion and My Fair Lady.
Basically, right?
I don't know. I never saw the movie.
You never saw the movie?
No, why are you looking at me with interrogating eyes? I didn't see the movie, okay?
Did you see the movie?
I have not seen
Am I
it.
the only one in the room that's seen the movie? While we were in university, did you not go with girls that you wanted to date, but you're too terrified to make a move on, and you just sat there quietly beside them watching the movie? Yeah, I saw it in the theaters. I remember the scene when this song comes on. It's when Rachel Lee Cook is walking down the staircase after she gets her glow up, and it's in slow-mo, and that was my introduction to the song. This is what mid-late 90s Frank music was all about. Female singer-songwriter, jangly pop music. This song was basically described my 90s.
And it kind of was a harbinger of the end of the 90s.
Yes.
Because of how positive the tune is. And so we were kind of hit our stride in the early 90s because that's when we were in high school.
I would say that it was a feature of the 90s was the sort of alienated listener, not just grunge, but kind of that idiosyncratic kind of personality type.
Disenfranchised.
Yeah. Even the movie is, it's that classic trope of like the girl's a nerd and then she takes her glasses off and she was hot the entire time.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because like whenever a guy does that, it's like the Clark Kent thing where
Yeah,
when a guy
whenever a
takes
guy
the
does
glasses
that,
off,
he's just Superman.
he becomes strong, and when a girl does it, she becomes the object of a man.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny.
Oh, man.
Like, she was attractive before she got the glow up and everything. She was just a social outcast. Or not a social outcast, but she was just socially awkward.
And it's 2 fellows who wear glasses all the time. You kind of hope that they see the beauty underneath. I mean, glasses don't define us, do they,
Take off
Frank?
your glasses. Let the world see your beautiful eyes, Dave.
Hey, for the 3rd year anniversary of our podcast, we're going to do a Frank glow up. You're going to walk out of the Winchester. We're going to,
Am I going to get frosted tips and a faux hawk? Because
yes.
It's going to be like your own.
It is not 2016 anymore, Bill.
It's going to be like a quinceanera for you, Frank. We're going to debut you. You're going to come down the staircase. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Okay, back to this song.
Back to this song.
It hits number 2.
Yeah.
It would kind of stalled at number 6, then somehow shot back up to number 2, and it's kept off by TLC's No Scrubs.
Oh.
Number
No
3.
shame in that.
No, none at all. Number 3 was Believe by Cher. Number 4, Sugar Ray, Every Morning.
Oh, wow.
And number 5, What's It Gonna Be? Busta Rhymes featuring Janet. Any more we want to say about song history?
Well, we should talk about how the song was written.
Yes.
Because I was surprised to hear you say that the band was kind of reluctant about making it a single, because I read somewhere that they were touring and Matt Slocum came up and showed her the song. And it was like before the show, I guess he was just tinkering with his guitar, and then played the song, and then they played it in the show that night.
Yeah.
She liked it so much
Wow.
that they rehearsed it, they learned it that night and played it.
And was a hit every time they played it
Yeah.
before they recorded it.
Yeah, we need to talk about this lyrically. And I don't know when to bring it up. Maybe I'm holding back you two because I know something. I found something out. Now I don't know what to do with it. Dylan Thomas.
Yes.
He wrote a short story.
So we should also say that Matt Slocum was reading a lot of Dylan Thomas at the time, correct?
Yeah, that would probably help with what I just said. You're right. Very good, Frank. People were really confused.
Well, maybe if you read Wikipedia like in order like I do, you'd be able to present your thoughts a little bit more cohesively.
He's in his early 20s when he's writing this, I think.
Dylan Thomas or
No, Matt Slocum. So let's
Gotcha.
see. He's probably wrote this around 96 is my guess. And so he's 24. And so he's been reading Pablo Neruda and Dylan Thomas. So I imagine he's reading a lot of poetry, but then he's moved to Dylan Thomas short stories. And so there's a collected stories that has a whole bunch of early Dylan Thomas things in there. And so there's an interview with Lee Nash talking about this song. I'm going to play it for you right now because this shocked me.
Kiss Me is actually even a lot older than the album is, and I came over and he had been reading Dylan Thomas' book of stories, and it just was inspired by one of the stories. It's really not it's not about a girl or anything romantic really like that. It's supposed to be sort of an innocent story, more like a childlike romance than anything sassy.
So you heard that. She's saying it's more about childhood innocence, not about anything. What was the word?
it's not about smooching?
It's not about smooching, although that is totally not true when you read the lyrics.
Yeah.
I want to frame it that way, that she's saying she went over to see him, he had Dylan Thomas stories, and then she explains it's more about childhood innocence. Okay.
That makes sense to me.
Okay.
This reminds me a lot. There's a novel called Atonement. There's a character in it who, when she's a kid, she writes stories. And there's a line that says something about the idea that the wedding was the ultimate consummation of their love. She was so young, she couldn't imagine anything. So I think when kids are kids and they think about romance, a kiss is the ultimate act.
Yeah.
Right? They don't understand anything beyond that. So I could see how this fits in with that kind of vision.
So I'm saving the Dylan Thomas reference till we get to it in the song when we go
Okay.
through. So
All right.
let's start by kind of going into the song here. So it starts very lovely.
It opens up with that sort of jangly guitar.
Very familiar.
I love that.
This sort of hits the sort of Frank Pearson checklist of songs that
Oh,
he's
yeah.
going to love in the late 90s.
Yeah. Jangly guitar, female vocalist, accordion, yes please.
It's all there.
Lyrics about smooching? Check. Done.
Right. And very first lyric, kiss me. All right. Let's talk about that first verse. Kiss me out of the bearded barley, nightly beside the green, green grass. Swing, swing, swing the spinning step. You wear those shoes, and I will wear that dress.
Kiss me out of the bearded barley, nightly beside the green, green grass.
sounds like a pretty crappy situation for the guy. I mean, she's fully clothed and he's just there in his shoes.
That's funny.
Which is
that. What's he wearing?
There's no way.
Like he doesn't even have socks on.
Yeah, you can't look worse than being completely naked except for your shoes.
Yes.
It's the worst look a man can have, and that's how she envisions him.
I know we're going to jump into the lyrics here and everything, but before we get too bogged down with all our technical English mumbo jumbo and all of that, they do this really, really cool little echo thing in the song.
In the single version.
In the single version,
Right.
yes. So in the first verse and in the second verse, it comes through. And what I love is it's in that third line. It says swing, swing, swing the spinning step, but it's swing, swing. Then you hear that echo, swing, swing. And it just plays on the visual of actually swinging, because swinging is a repetitive back and forth motion. So that echo of it, swing, 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 is just the back and forth. And it paints that picture lyrically. And it checks another box for me. Just that subtle, airy little echo from a female singer. I just love that. I think it's fantastic.
And the time has come for me to talk about the Dylan Thomas story. Okay. I'm going to need your help here, guys, because I'm coming into this having read this story last night, and it was not a good experience.
Oh, no.
Dave, you finished Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy?
Yes.
It took me days to finish that book. I'll get back to this story, but I read Blood Meridian, and it put me in the hospital because I started to get a panic attack while getting through the last 4 pages.
Oh, really?
And by the time I got to the end, I had chest pains, and they wouldn't go away for like a day. And I ended up in emergency thinking I was having a heart attack, but it turned out to be a panic attack. I know it was caused by Blood Meridian. It was horrifying. So, something kind of similar, but luckily I've been able to deal with my issues through the 3 years of this podcast. I read the Dylan Thomas short story. Lee Nash said it was about childhood innocence. I want to know what she's talking about, because this is not about childhood innocence.
Well, do you know it's the same story?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
What's the story called?
The story's called The School for Witches.
That's funny that you say that, because there's a lot of pagan imagery in this song.
Yes.
It's very pagan.
Oh my goodness.
Right? So I was wondering, I was surprised that it would come from a Christian band, because this has a lot of that kind of, moonlight out in the fields.
Yeah.
A woman out in the fields. I mean,
Not-
were they even allowed
yeah.
to do that back then?
All right, listen, I'm going to tell you this story. Okay. Story is about, well, I don't know totally what it's about, but I'll just frame it for you. Some doctor is having like this delirious fever dream. But the dream isn't this. He's just feels like he's hearing things. But in his house, the doctor's daughter is actually running this kind of school for witches. So the daughter has these like 7, acolytes around her that she's teaching how to be witches. And the imagery is super horrific to me.
Okay.
I was really bothered by it. There's like a baby's birth. I'm not sure if the baby survived at the end either. It was really dark. Okay, so that's the sort of framing of it. So all these people get wrapped up in this I don't know if it's a whirling dervish, if that's the term, but there's this sort of, the coven ends up doing this dance in a circle, and they bring all these people into it, and it ends up being like 13 people in it. 13th episode, Dave. In this sort of whirling thing, and there's a baby involved, and it's really weird. So here's the paragraph that I want to read to you. It says, "Sister, raise your right hand. The 7th girl," so this is one of the kids in her school, "raised her right hand. 'Now say,' said the doctor's daughter, 'rise up out of the bearded barley. Rise out of the green grass asleep in Mr. Griffith's dingle. Say, the devil kisses me.' 'The devil kisses me,' said the girl, cold, in the center of the kitchen. 'Kiss me out of the bearded barley. Kiss me out of the bearded barley.' The girls giggled in a circle. 'Swive me out of the green grass. Swive me out of the green grass.'" Clearly, as you two can see, I am perturbed by this. The reason I am perturbed is that the one she is asking to kiss her is the devil.
Yeah.
And there are words here. Swive doesn't mean nightly beside the green grass.
Well, if it meant that, he would say nightly.
Thank you, Frank. Swive can mean both harvesting, but more commonly, I think in Ireland when it was used, it meant another word. Swive is another term for sexual intercourse, Frank.
So then the bearded barley is in play.
Yeah.
Then as a sexual innuendo.
For sure. So this opens up the whole entire song that this could be playing with some entendres. It's not just something innocent. And so I sit here wondering how I can deal with this song now.
Okay, but think about the context in which it was written by a 24-year-old
Yeah.
who's just listening to the lyrical play of the words and not necessarily understanding. At 24, would you understand what swive means?
No. And back then, he wasn't able to just tap it on his phone to see that it meant that. But he did change the word.
I'll give Sixpence a pass on this. Like, the story's disturbing, yeah. But I'll give Sixpence a pass on this. This song's about smooching.
Yeah, well, I agree with that because I think if you're 24 and you're reading Dylan Thomas, then you probably are exploring these things. You're not just reading him to debunk him. You're probably reading him to enjoy the thing. So it lends to a darker take on the song.
Wait, so you agree with me or with Bill?
I agree with Bill, I think. Wait, what are you saying?
I say I think they get a pass because what 24-year-old understands Thomas like that?
No, I think he's probably intentional.
I think that he's not just being pretentious and reading Thomas and
Yeah, no,
No, there's definitely that.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I just think that this is sort of like, I know he's not in youth group, but there'd be people in youth group who want to push the edge of things. And so I have a feeling he's writing a sweet love song, but also purposely
with an edge to it. Yeah.
with an edge. And I think he
But
knows.
the song's not about like devil babies.
No, because in the book it was a devil baby that was born.
Yeah.
So I still know what happened with the baby at the end and all this, but I feel he's writing the song, but maybe it's a joke for himself to put in language out of this very disturbing story. Matt, not funny.
I think this works well because I don't think I've ever had like a romantic Valentine's Day, and the whole sentiment is, a little bit lost on me at this point. This is the least romantic Valentine's themed episode in podcast history.
It is. We were doing so well, and then it's like really about a coven.
But it was, I just want,
Sorry.
like, I like horror stuff and everything. I just wanted to talk about a song about smooching.
I know, and I did too. Until I did my research, I just didn't know the rabbit hole I was going down was a snake pit.
Okay, I'm going to put this out there. Knowledge and information ruins everything.
You know what, Frank? Pastor Mike's not here to say it, but that's Garden of Eden.
Wait, this song by Iron Maiden?
No.
Or Butterfly?
This is the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. This is what I do when I do research, Frank.
I just want to be blissfully ignorant, which is why I read Wikipedia and that's it.
All right. I needed to get that out. I got it out.
Yeah, well, I'm shocked that you've invited me here for this. I did not expect a Valentine's Day episode that would go so dark. But it does seem like kind of a pagan kind of situation that they're in. The darkness, the fireflies, the romantic sentiments. It could go either way.
Because only pagans like romance, right, Dave?
Maybe he's just trying to redeem it, eh?
Yeah. Asking for kisses in the dark and the moonlit floor. This has ritual sacrifice all over it.
It has Hallmark movie. Like, okay.
No, you're right.
These are the visuals that I'm pulling.
Okay. Bring us back, Frank. Bring us back. Bring us
Are
back to the
Hallmark
light.
movies all pagan movies? This is another thing we need to explore, maybe.
American Werewolf and Hallmark.
Yeah.
I have a great script I've been working on.
Okay, we haven't even made it out of the first verse yet.
We haven't. So you can help me out because you did a really good job on the swing because there was no swings in the Dylan Thomas thing. So I can let this go and help me understand the shoes and the dress. Why is it kind of sweet?
I don't know. It just is.
Well, I think there's something about the dance with the shoes.
Well, yeah, I think she's asking him basically to dress in a particular way, maybe in a matchy kind of way, so that when they're dancing and smooching on the dance floor, that they look cute together. That's all I take it. I take it, I'm very superficial, guys. I think you guys know this. You've seen the girls that I try to date.
So this is like that dance at the end of Fandango. I love bringing this up, knowing that you have a picture of Kevin Costner, but can't remember that movie.
I can't remember that movie. It's been so long since I've seen Fandango.
All right, let's go to verse 2.
Are we not even going to hit the chorus?
All right, let's hit that chorus and bring you back to the light here, Frank.
Okay,
I'm sorry,
I've
Frank.
lost so much on this song here.
Let's
I'm
get that
fighting you with your...
Listen, I don't want to go there. I don't.
But I don't think the sentiment of this song is that.
We're about 5 minutes away from you driving me to the hospital.
Yeah, pretty much. Because I'm going to physically fight you with my adult muscles.
Oh, kiss me beneath the milky twilight. Lead me out on the moonlit floor. Lift your open hand. Strike up the band and make the fireflies dance. Silver moons sparkling. So kiss me.
Kiss me beneath the milky twilight. Lead me out on the moonlit floor. Lift your open hand, strike up the band and make the fireflies dance. Silver moon sparkling. So kiss me.
That, in my mind, and this is if we go with the Hallmark movie category, it's an open field. There's a dance floor in the middle of this field. Like, it's just this sort of like rustic, romantic sort of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, this is why
Stop talking about devil babies.
I just want you to exercise this short story from me. Had I not
I'm
read it.
trying to.
All right.
Yeah, I'd like to as well, because I don't want Bill to think that maybe the band, which would not be out in the middle of a field, but a group of witches could be, that the band is a band of witches. And I definitely don't want Bill to think
Yeah, or else
maybe that the
he
fireflies dancing are the sparks that come from their murky cauldron. You know, no.
Stop it. Stop it, you guys. And Lee Nash said, and Kitch was quoting earlier to us, I don't know if it was on or off, Mike, but that there was an edgier version of the lyrics. But I'm like, oh, I know what the edgier version is. But hers was like, instead of silver moon sparkling, it was cigarettes sparking.
Yeah.
Like, Lee, that's so sweet.
That's
Exactly.
super badass, by the way, in the 90s. No, I agree with you, Frank. I do read this as just a very fairy tale-ish,
Yes.
girly kind of take on, romance. And it's just this great scene. And there's time immemorial, people sneaking out into the dark to, maybe have a kiss.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Steal a kiss or to ask one to be stolen from oneself.
Yes.
All right. Verse 2, Frank?
Yeah, okay.
All right, here we go.
We're back on track now.
We're back on track.
The inspiration of the song may have been a little bit more nefarious as I twist my mustache here, but I think the song itself is about smooching, right? Smooching and romance.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're on the same page here.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't have to yell anymore,
You don't have to.
but I can still, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Kiss me, toil and trouble, fire burn.
Oh, come
Sorry.
on.
All right. Back to it. Kiss me, down by the broken tree house. Swing me, you'll love this part, swing me, upon its hanging tire. Bring your flowered hat. We'll take the trail marked on your father's map.
Kiss me down by the broken tree house. Swing me up on its hanging tire. Bring your flowered hat. We'll take the trail marked on your father's map. Oh, kiss me.
My favorite verse here.
Yeah, they do that echo thing again. It's warm.
It's warm and it's not on the original album version,
Yeah.
right? So they added to this later to punch it up for the single.
Double tracked, you said.
Double track for sure. They have that, and then they're echoing, so she's with herself there, like a coven.
Come on.
This verse brings it even more towards, Frank, what you're trying to say, I feel like. Because it's rooted in very basic farm kind of field imagery, right? You got the swinging tire,
Yeah.
the broken tree house. There's very childlike stuff. The one thing, the trail marked on your father's map, I don't quite know what to do with it. It reminds me of that bit from Seinfeld where Jerry was trying to talk dirty to his girlfriend, and he said, like, the clothes that your mother laid out for you the night before. I don't know if you remember that episode.
No.
It was like somebody told him, like, oh, you should try like talking dirty to your girlfriend, and that's the thing that he said, and it freaked out the girl so much that she left. But like, I don't get the father's map bit, but everything else is very basic.
Well, I think that this whole area where the tire swing and where this is all happening, it's a secret place. It's marked out on a map. You take a left at the old tree, 10 steps past the old mill towards the creek, and then you follow the trail. That's marked on his father's map.
There's something sweet about the idea that there's like the lineage of going to some place that his father would have been to.
Yeah, that's where his father brought his best girl, who was his mom.
Yeah, well, that there is that feel to it, right?
Yeah.
It feels very sweet.
Yeah.
Right? That there isn't anything witchy about this.
No. Can we say that I like sweet music?
Yeah, I don't think we need to. I think everyone knows by now.
Okay.
But you got the broken tree house, which kind of connotes the passing of time. You're past your childhood. So you have the broken tree house, it's been long ago. But there's sort of a coming back here, right? But she wants to be swung on the tire. And so there is a return to childhood innocence, as she talked about because she hadn't read the story. And then she says to bring his flowered hat. Now, in the version I'm listening to, which of course is the song, she says like heart. It sounds like she's saying heart. Bring your flowered heart, but it's hat.
Yeah.
It almost has that Fry voice thing that destroyed early 2000s to 2020 music for a female vocalist.
I would like to talk about that.
Yeah. Okay.
At some point. It doesn't have to be right now, but that's a major thing. This is a groundbreaking song because it feels like it introduces a style that you just talked about.
I don't think I know what you're talking about necessarily.
Oh, okay. So I've been going down a rabbit hole about the indie girl voice.
Oh, okay.
And it's a thing, and it's very popular. And there's I don't know if you know about TikTok, Frank, but all the kids are into it. Okay, so I'm going to play this. So this is where it is now, right?
Is this the guy in his kitchen? Oh,
yeah.
that's the best.
Yeah.
Welcome to my kitchen. We have bananas and avocado.
First time I heard it, I was like, is he doing Bjork?
Yeah.
But then you like this is
like an affectation that
an Alyssa Cara. It's kind of like this is the new it's an affectation. So vocal fry is when like the voice goes like it off at the end. That's vocal fry.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a whole genre, and I first got into it when I saw Dan Mangan, who's a Canadian singer-songwriter, and he tweeted, he's like, why does everybody sound like they're toddlers right now? But it's that kind of affectation that they do. And there's a touch of this in this song.
Oh, okay.
And so it's way ahead of its time in terms of how it's been parodied or mimicked or whatever.
Because it's called vocal fry.
Oh, okay.
And so I'd call this proto fry.
Yeah.
This is before it happens. But I feel when I hear Lord, who has a name that has several vowels in it, because the whole thing's about playing with vowels in this sort of way. But isn't Lord seems to be like master of the fry?
Yeah.
Fry master, if
Fry
I
master.
may throw that down.
Yeah.
To me, it was just like a bad time for Bill Hauser listening to music.
Yeah. 2010s is massive.
Okay.
It's a huge thing.
Lee Nash, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Flowered hat? There's something sweet about wearing a flowered hat. I've never worn a flowered hat, though. Have you?
No, not that I can think of. I did once have someone put so back in high school when I had long hair, this will surprise you, but I let a girl that I was kind of interested in, just play with my hair and put it up into a different style where she made like almost Princess Leia buns on the side of my head. And then I got threatened by everybody at the school because I just kept it in because I was like, hey, why not?
Yeah, and then you got put in that carbonite for like 3 years.
Yes, there's that too.
I'm glad we're getting back to the sweetness here.
Yeah.
Okay. And then it goes back to that chorus, but then we get to the musical interlude.
Yes.
Which is, I think, a huge selling point for all of us.
Well, it has that accordion in it.
Yeah.
Actually, I have a couple of notes about the instrumentation, which I think the instrumentation is awesome in this song. The jangly guitar, it just really, really suits it. There's a light, airy playfulness about the song. The bass, I think, is an unsung all-star of the song. Listen to it just play throughout, but then accordion for the win.
Yeah.
Accordion just punctuates everything on this song.
It's a squeeze box in the video, but you can't make that sound without a true accordion.
Yeah.
And they didn't have the guts to put an accordion in the video. They had to go hipster.
Hipster before hipsters were a thing.
Oh my goodness. Proto-hipster.
Proto-hipster.
Is it not a squeeze box? Because it sounds very much like the Italian kind of thing.
It's the Italian accordion.
Is it?
Yeah, at least in this.
Yeah.
I'm with you there on accordion for the win. The single version punches up all the right instruments.
Yes.
Now, listening to the album version, to me, the weak spot comes out. And I don't know if this is true for all 90s music. I feel it is for a lot of the 90s rock I listen to. The drums sound so uninspired to me.
Okay.
So when I hear the drums, especially in the album version, it just feels like someone's drumming,
They're just keeping time.
keeping time. Like you could have a drum machine do this, and there wasn't anything fun that a drummer would want to do live. And I feel like that was what's missing. But when we listened to the single version in here, because I had been unknowingly listening to the album version all week, but when I heard the single version, I'm like, oh, there it is. Oh, this is great. And so the bass was punched way up.
Yeah.
And guitars, of course, maybe even layered a bit more, but the drums were just kind of pushed to the back because there wasn't anything special about it, which might explain why there's not necessarily a consistent drummer in this band.
Yeah, it took a while to get someone who's there with any sort of longevity.
I mean, we're coming from a city that brought Neil Peart to the world, so maybe, kind of a bit biased. And so the song ends with a repeat of the chorus and then the outro.
Yeah.
So kiss me, so kiss me, so kiss me. Maybe throwing some Cure in there.
I like the way that Lee Nash is singing it at the end. I don't even know how to explain it, but it's not demanding. It's not begging. It's
Confident?
yeah. There's a confidence about it, right?
It's beautiful. It is. Thank you, Frank, because Dylan Thomas had ruined my night last night, but I feel like I'm back on track.
Yeah. Song about smooching.
But it's lovers who are familiar with each other.
Yeah.
Or there could be an early relationship, but it's not as though like, oh, if only we could be together. Like they're together enough that it's like, listen, kiss me.
Yeah. The togetherness aspect is cool because there's that line, lift your open hand. The open hand, it implies take my hand in yours.
Yeah.
But it says lift your open hand, which is then the partnership, the I'll carry you kind of stuff too. So the hand imagery in a relationship is always really, really kind of powerful to me.
And he strikes up the band. I feels like even with the hand, like to strike up the band, I feel like that the power of that hand is like fireflies dancing, all the things that
a witch would do.
Oh, come on. We had Bill in a good spot.
Did.
I was going to say, like, have you not been out in a field or in a forest and just watching fireflies in a meadow?
Oh, yeah.
It's
Like with your
it is
best
magical,
girl or
yeah.
something?
Yeah.
Trying to steal a kiss?
No, there's no stealing. It's all implied. It's this song is 25 years ahead of its time in the sense that it's completely consensual.
Yeah. It is. What's the name of the guy who said steal my kisses from you? Ben something or other?
Franklin.
Ben Franklin. Oh man, he got struck by lightning.
No, I have no idea.
Ben Harper.
Oh, Ben Harper. Oh,
And
yeah.
Innocent Criminals.
Yeah. When was that?
Probably just a few years later, I think. It was like early 2000s, maybe?
1999.
Son of a gun.
So a year later. So already we have Sixpence just saying, kiss me.
Yeah.
And he's complaining he's got to steal kisses.
Yeah.
He should have hooked up with Sixpence. All right. I feel we got most of the song kind of down pat here. Should we talk videos?
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are 3
I think there's
different
19 videos.
Yeah, there's
on this
19
thing.
different videos.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, man. Yeah. The first one that they released was the black and white one in Paris.
Yeah,
with
the
Francois Truffaut thing.
Yeah, basically an homage to Jim and Jules.
Truffaut?
No, that was a film that he had. I got that straight from Wikipedia.
I feel the black and white is kind of a nothing video to me. I'm not a big fan of it.
I kind of like it.
Okay.
I thought it was
right?
fun.
There's one of the three of us. Kitch?
I didn't mind it based on only in comparison to the other one.
The other ones are just Hollywood sort of throwaway nothing videos.
It's Hollywood screaming, we need a video to support our movie, but we have no ideas. So we're just going to throw a bunch of people on a bench.
Yeah.
We're going to throw the leads, right? Because Freddie Prinze Jr. and Rachel Lee Cook are in the video.
Mm-hmm.
And they just sit on a bench looking perturbed, which betrays the song. Because we've talked about this. We know what the song is, right? It's about a bunch of witches. No, it's no, it's like it.
Well, then it explains
it
why.
betrays the love that they have, right? It's all about the relationship going in a forward direction. But they've taken the stars of the movie, but put them in the first half of the movie where they're not talking to each other. So it's just a lot of frustrated looks and gazes and stuff like that. And then you've got the lead singer who they don't know what to do with because she's pixie-ish.
Yeah,
Yes.
almost manic pixie dream girl, but not quite.
Before that had been defined, right?
Right,
Because
right,
it wasn't
right.
really till the 2000s that came out as a trope.
Proto pixie dream girl.
Proto Pixie.
This band is so leading
ahead
edge.
of their time. I really do feel like they didn't know what to do with her.
Yeah.
As a starlet, because it's not a song you can really dance to. But she's got the short hair. She doesn't fit the I'm using air quotes here, but like the kind of traditional leading lady of a band
right.
or whatever, right? So it's just a lot of identity crisis is going on in that Hollywood one.
Such a missed opportunity to me to just take the song's lyrics and put it out there. The idea of them dancing in the moonlight.
They could have done exactly what the song says.
Would
It
have
could
been
be
great.
like Neil Young's Harvest Moon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would have been beautiful. There's also a version of the video that doesn't have Freddie Prinze and Rachel Lee
Yeah.
Cook. And so it's
There's the Paris version, which I think that they did before
Definitely.
the album came out, was released. Then they did the video, which didn't have Freddie Prinze Jr. and Rachel Lee Cook in it. And then they added them in as promo for the movie.
I mean, it looks like they were there because the shot of them sitting on the bench is like the same. Like,
Yeah.
So I don't get it. Also, I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, there was so much money in the 90s that you could have a song in a small little Christian indie label and convince your record execs to fly you to Paris to shoot a video.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Well, I think they probably did it while they were on tour. Because, I mean, they were on tour when they wrote the song, and
Right,
it was
right.
in the Netherlands, right? So they
Oh,
must have been
okay.
touring all the time anyways.
I'm really looking forward to when we do our recordings throughout Europe in the summer.
I know. We can finally do videos for the podcast
In black and white, though.
in black and white. Yeah.
Or you got any more to say about the videos?
No, I think the videos are... I like the French one. I
Yeah.
like the...
I-
well, it's not even French because it's sung in English, but the black and white one. I kind of like that one.
I think I like the Americanized version because it was easier for me to understand, just like how I don't like to watch any of the Francois Truffaut movies.
Yeah, gotcha.
It's amazing how often he's talked about and how little I know of anything he's done. I couldn't care
It's
less.
Fahrenheit 451,
Did
didn't
he?
Yeah.
Category time, Frank and Kitch?
I'm in.
All right.
I'm
First- Okay. I got a new one for you.
Okay.
First song that Taylor Swift learned on the guitar.
What's
True
this one?
true story.
True
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
She brought it up twice on both a Vogue like interview, or it might have been Vanity Fair. I have it in
It
somewhere.
started
here.
with a V.
It started with a V, and also on the Jimmy Fallon show where she brought it up during
Yeah.
one of their competitions.
Sixpence, none the richer.
That
you
was
even
the
got the
first time I
band.
learned to play on guitar. Yeah.
I don't know. Pretty big song. If Taylor Swift cuts her teeth on this song for the guitar, she's got good taste in music. I mean, have you listened to her stuff? It's pretty good.
All right, so there's our Taylor Swift category.
All right. I got a good category.
Yeah.
Why is Dave on the podcast so much?
This is a podcast? This makes a whole lot more sense now. I always wondered what these microphones are for.
He keeps getting in the Hall of Fame. 13 episodes
I
in,
know,
Frank.
right?
Don't deny the fans.
All right. Dave, we'll allow you to continue to guest.
Thanks, Ray.
As long as it's more than Pastor Mike.
Yeah, just tell me what song he wants to do next and I'll be here.
All right, anyone who could cover the song. Traditionally, it's Michael Bolton, but I think we're shifting a little bit here.
Well, I think because of the song and the feel of it and its specific spot in particularly, I would say, late 90s pop culture lore. And I will explain my decision here,
Yeah.
or my choice here.
This is quite the lead up.
I know, right? I think Jewel could do a version of this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There's jewelness to it.
Yeah.
Okay, but because there is a light playfulness about the song, and
Jewel doesn't do light or playful,
no,
does
she does. It reminded me of a song that she did. It was on a B-side of another one of those albums that I bought probably 4 copies of, and it's called The Cold Song. The song is, "Do you want to catch a cold with me?" So it implies that she wants to smooch with someone, but she has a cold. So it's about kissing, but it's a fun, light, playful song.
I can't believe you made that joke in the age of COVID, Jewel and Frank.
Okay, no, this happened before COVID, so it's okay.
I got a version for you I have written here.
Okay.
This is in the total opposite direction. If this person were to sing the song, I feel it gives a whole new meaning to it. Tom Waits.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think the
Well, then
sque-
then
the-
it goes witchy.
and Squeezebox. I think he's playing that squeeze box while it's going through. But yeah, the witchy part, I think the witches don't mess with Tom Waits.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. I have a weird one, and you got to kind of go along a bit of a journey with me, but there's the Breeders.
Okay, yeah.
Because you know at the beginning of Cannonball,
yes,
how they come in very sweet. Mm-hmm. If they maintain that, then it would be interesting because they were kind of contemporaries. I think the Breeders were a bit sooner than this, right? They were like mid-90s.
Yeah, they were like 93, 94.
Yeah, but it would just be interesting to hear, since we're talking about the 90s and girl bands and stuff like that, if they could.
That was Kim Deal and Tanya Donnelly, right?
Yeah. And Kelly Deal too. And
Kelly,
right? It was all the girls from the Pixies.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, also, and I read this in the Wikipedia, that they get a lot of comparisons to this band. But I have a story. I went to Peterborough one time and I heard Summertime by the Sundays.
Oh, that's such a good song.
But this is again, this is in the 90s, pre-internet, where you had to do the legwork. And I searched forever to find out who sang that song. And I finally found it, and it was the Sundays. So I think the Sundays could do a cover of this too.
I'm surprised we didn't bring this up earlier, but other comparisons would be like 10,000 Maniacs. And both Matt Slocum and Lee Nash are currently in 10,000 Maniacs.
It's crazy.
That's
they
bonkers.
joined 10,000 Maniacs last year, and now they play Sixpence songs. And I imagine there's only a couple songs they're going to play.
Yeah. They're going to play the hits, right?
But she fits in well with 10,000 Maniacs to some degree.
It's like Gowan joining Styx.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or Gary Sharon joining Van Halen.
Where are you most likely to hear this song?
When I'm trying to steal a kiss from my best girl.
Out in a farmer's field?
In a farmer's field,
Once the band starts going?
Yeah. The Fireflies are going to be playing it. It's on their radio.
All right, let's talk about the mixtapes here. Dave Kitchen, you are our guest, 13-time guest, which is a record. Actually, you're 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 were records.
Well,
after 6, 5, and 4, I think.
Yeah, I think after 4, he became the record holder.
Right, okay. So why don't you bring to us your songs?
Okay, so this might be a little on the nose, but I've got a bunch of songs. I've got 2 categories, and one is about songs that deal with kisses, but it's a bit of a journey. It's a bit of a roller coaster. So first is Butterfly Kisses by Bob Carlyle.
Wow, you just put on the worst song.
Yeah.
In the history of the world.
But this is the journey.
As you go on, I'm going to cross off the songs that were on my list, and that was on my list.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Sorry, Frank.
All right, Butterfly Kisses. Wow.
Butterfly Kisses. So we're starting.
Tough start.
Tough start. Yeah. And very ephemeral kisses, by the way. Just butterfly. Just, you barely even notice them. Song number 2. Now we're getting more and more based in reality. We're creeping closer to something real. A Kiss from a Rose by Seal, which I also was here for that podcast.
That's right.
My second podcast ever, I think. Or was it my first?
Second.
Okay. So now we've gone from Butterflies to A Kiss from a Rose. Okay. And then now the idea has stuck. Okay. This person is getting more and more familiar with the idea of a kiss. So now the kiss is on my list by Hall & Oates.
Nice.
Well, that's coming off my list now.
Okay. It's not on Frank's list,
It's
but
not
it's
on my list
It's on my
anymore.
imaginary characters list. Okay. But then, like all romances, sometimes they don't work out. So then we go to U2 for Kiss Me, Kill Me. No, wait. What's the song?
Hold Me, Thrill Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me.
There it is. So things aren't going well, right? So now there's, it's taking a rockier turn. And then finally we end with Red Hot Chili Peppers. Suck My Kiss, because the person's on their way out and they're doing that thing that the guy at the end of Breakfast Club
Oh,
does, where
yes.
he's just like, suck my
yeah,
kiss, and he's out, and that's it. Okay, so that's
great.
Thank you. And then, so we were talking about the vocal fry thing. So I went back to some mostly mid to early 90s singers, vocal fry, but kind of in the same vein. So this isn't so much songs as it is acts. The Sundays, I already mentioned. Sarah Slean, Belly, sorry. Do you remember the band?
I love Belly. Oh, I love it.
Belly.
Love that band.
And then getting closer, but bringing in some Canadiana. Damn It Doyle. Remember her song, Tattoo or whatever?
Yes. Yeah.
And then...
Dave, you're speaking my language.
Okay. Yeah. And then lastly, more modern, but still sort of a pure voice. It doesn't have that fry in it, is Bass You Bullet.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Which one?
So,
In the Night?
Yeah, and just them in general, and how they're kind of the last of the voices that weren't fried.
Okay, you want me to go?
Now, Bill, you go ahead. I have
All
a
right.
very long list that I've been crossing off.
Okay, so I had originally opened with Summertime by the Sundays, but I knew it was going to be taken by you two at some point.
Is
Did
it
you
is,
have
it, is your
Summertime?
theme just
Oh,
Sonic or
Yeah, sonically, I wanted to be
Okay.
generally female leads about a love that is pure and true.
Gotcha.
To quote, I think that's quoting a Hold Steady lyric, actually, but either way. So it was Summertime by the Sundays, opened it. Sunrise, Nora Jones.
Oh, okay.
And then As I Lay Me Down, Sophie B. Hawkins.
Oh, yes, please.
Here's a good one. Again, Janet Jackson. Yeah. And then I ended with Everywhere by Fleetwood Mac.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah. And it was all just the fairies and fireflies and
Yeah.
moonlight kisses.
You're talking romantic Frank's language. All right. So, similar to Kitsch, I went with songs about smooching. We will start off with Till I Kissed Her by the Everly Brothers.
Oh, we're going 50s.
Mhm.
Right? All right, good.
Then He Kissed Me,
Oh, yeah.
the Crystals.
And that was in Adventures in Babysitting.
That's right. Yep.
Future Bill and Frank's podcast on movies,
On
guilt-free movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
This one's going to anger some people. Don't Talk, Just Kiss by Right Said Fred.
Oh, yeah.
This Kiss, Faith Hill.
One of the all-time greats.
yeah.
But we will finish my playlist with the ultimate song about smooching. Kiss the Girl by Samuel E. Wright from the Little Mermaid soundtrack.
Well done.
Yeah, nice. Nice, Frank.
So kiss me.
I want to thank Dave Kitchen for coming back for the 13th time to join us for this pretty amazing, not about witches, Valentine's song.
Song all about smooching.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen. Thanks for having me.
So, dear listener, we thank you for enduring with us and listening to the podcast again. And we know that sometimes it takes us a long time to get to the point. If you follow the trail marked on your father's map, you can always find Bill and Frank's guilt-free pleasures.
I was reading about it's Squint
Yeah,
Records
yes,
or Squint Entertainment. I was reading about that, and they failed because they were trying to get into a partnership with AOL Time Warner,
Okay.
which might explain the AOL interview.
Yes.
Wow.
But I mean, if you had to pick a web browser or a web company in the '90s to choose from, you
Well,
picked
yeah.
the wrong one.
Oh, man.
You got mail, right?
But
Right, guys?
was there any, what was the other, like that was the one,
There
wasn't
was-
it?
there was
AOL?
Netscape
Right.
Oh, yeah.
and Excel, I think, was one, wasn't it? Or Excite or something like
Yeah,
that.
something
Excite,
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But Yahoo was around in the 90s
Yeah,
as
I had a
well, right?
Yahoo.
yeah.
What was your Yahoo email?
Oh no, I had a Hotmail.
And what was yours?
Am I? I've
Can you say it on the podcast?
I've already said so many embarrassing things on the podcast.
Might as well
that-
add to it.
Yeah, it's rant_n_roar at hotmail.com. So it was rant and roar.
Yeah, and mine was Hurricane Hauser.
Was it?
Yeah, at Yahoo.
Right.
Because that was the name of our fake professional wrestling.
Well, that was the name of your fake professional wrestler.
Yeah, that's right. And we were in the, kind of close to Sixpence. It was a Christian Wrestling
Yeah,
Federation.
the ICWF, the
Yeah.
Inter-Christian Wrestling Federation.
It ended with the handshake, all the
Yeah.
matches. That's you won by like baking peace.
Yeah, by extending fellowship.
And this was imaginary, you say?
It's going to shock you, but Frank and I were very single.
I'm still very single. Am I still in the federation that I don't know about?
Send your request for a date with Frank to rantandroar at hotmail.com.